If you haven't heard about Anchor by Spotify, it's the easiest way to make a podcast with everything you need all in one place. Let me explain. Anchor has tools that allow you to record and edit your podcast right from your phone or computer. When hosting on Anchor, you can distribute your podcast on listening platforms like Spotify, Apple Podcasts, and more. It's everything you need to make a podcast in one place. And best of all, Anchor is totally free. Now download the Anchor app or go to anchor.fm to get started. Now you're tuned in to Uncomfortable In-House Conversations with HB, the podcast.
Hello, welcome to Uncomfortable In-House Conversations with HB. How you guys doing today? I hope blessed and highly favored. Today again is going to be one of those. It's a very uncomfortable conversation. Especially it's kind of uncomfortable. It is uncomfortable for me. And again, like I said, I want to use this platform as a maturation process, and hopefully being able to help someone or quite a few people. So, the title this episode is going to be talking about the unspoken world of grown men are we now, but an early age dealing with some kind of sexual abuse, and how things happen. Why isn't that we speak about it more? Why do we keep quiet? These things that I'm going to try to touch on. I'm also going to give us a little, well, not fun facts, but there are, I like to think that, along with some of the things that I speak about, I try to bring some facts, not just opinions, and also to my personal experience too. So if you just bear with me and follow me down the rabbit hole, I hope I can help someone, and just some parents just think and pay attention to some things. Now I'm going to start off by saying this. I always made the rule that I grew up in a two-parent household. I had a wonderful and great childhood, and I also, like any other kid, got in trouble. Also, any kid did things. So, so this situation is what I've learned is really not a one-off. But I spoke about it before briefly, in a post on Facebook, but I think it would do better justice of me explaining. So situation happened, and also too, want to just say that I think more of the reason why I kept quiet, because being at a certain age between 12 and 13, you think that you know better. And you have so many questions and so many things that happen with uncertainty. Also too, things happen that now that I'm older and privy to that I didn't realize that was going on, was at the time the person made me feel comfortable because they thought they were grooming me. That's a word I didn't know anything about. It just not too long, and I'm sorry if it's been out here. I apologize for my ignorance, but yeah, these things do happen. For a thing that I realized that a lot of people, we don't, and I guess in my community we don't touch on a lot of things that happen to us as young men. We're able, if you are being your guard is being let down because the person was in my church. It was in my church. Where, again, you feel safe. Those are a couple of things that, where predators pretty much are able to come in. So it's like either someone's in your home that you feel comfortable with, like a relative, or some kind of authority figure, father figure, a coach, or most of the time being someone in your church. How these things happen. So bear with me now. I'm about to start my story. So this was a time transition from elementary school to middle school. Now, I was asked, in which it is a legitimate question, because as you learn, in my other episodes, I was telling you about things that I did, being promiscuous, sleeping with different women. So I was asked, did I think that what happened to me was was a catapult into my decision or how I move with having sex. I can unequivocally say no, because I don't know, in one of my shows, I pretty much explained that I had sex when I was in the fifth grade. Well, going to the sixth grade. It's the fifth grade going to the sixth grade. Sorry, don't judge me. But here's the thing, another thing that I didn't think about, because now that we're getting older, I understand that how things start like a tree, and it plants, and it just goes, spirals anywhere. So the young girl that I had sex with, she was a classmate of mine, very good friend of mine. We used to, hang out every day. Go to her house. Nobody was home. Make a long story short, we used to use the word hunch. Clothes on. Hunches is a word that us down southerners we use, and that means clothes on, no really sexual contact. It's kind of like, um, yeah, kind of like masturbate, but you and the other person doing it. One day she says, I don't want to do this no more. I said, okay. She said, I want to have sex. In my mind, I'm stupid, I'm dumb, I don't know no better. So she's like, let's, I want to have sex. I said, oh, okay. Now, the funniest thing, there's a silver liner in this. The first time I did it, she, told me to pull my pants down. I told her to pull her pants down. She pulled her stuff down really quickly. And I looked, and girls mature faster than boys. And this girl had the most bushiest hair. Like, I was like, whoa, I wasn't expecting that, because I was told, when you have sex, it's the the how was it explained? The hot dog in the bun. So I'm expecting to put my penis on top of her stuff because it looked like a bun from what I've seen. No, little magazines. But I didn't know the women were shaving. So I got her to do it, and she's like, "What are you doing?" I'm like, "I don't know." So she was just like, "Just relax." And she grabbed my thing and she inserted in me. Now, I don't know what the hell that was, but that was like the most, maybe 2, 3 strongest damn 2, 3 seconds ever again in my life, because I think I passed out. I jumped up out of that thing. I put on my clothes and I ran home. I ran home and I was literally terrified. I thought I got her pregnant. I was asking questions. One of my good friends at the time were older. They was like, "Boy, you're only shooting dog water." But after that proceed during the whole summer, me and her going to the summer, we did that every day. We hunched every day. Until one day, police came to the house, knocked on the door, um, asked my mom, could they speak to me? They spoke to my mom. Um, and this is the serious part. Sh- I'm going to say her name was Shanique. She was being molested by her uncle. Yeah. So that was the part. Again, I'm young. I didn't know any better. How did she know all this? How did she know to do this and that? How comfortable she was. And it was because her uncle was molesting her. Um, her uncle got arrested, and I've never heard from her again. So yeah, that was kind of like a. Ugh. Sorry, guys. It's kind of leading up to what I'm saying now because it happens. And as much as we don't want to be like that with our children, we must pay attention to everything. Make sure you talk to your kids about everything. Um, don't take anything for granted. Pay attention to their moods. Don't be overbearing, but also at the same time, give them leeway to be able to come to you and make them understand that nothing they say or feel will look at them in a bad way. You have their back always. Now, with that being said, moving on, that happened. Went to middle school, sixth grade. Um, Started playing sports. It's all right. Um, Seventh grade, I started growing, and I became very good at what I did. I started playing basketball really well. Also at the same time, I played football a little bit, but my thing was basketball. Now, if when you're playing basketball, you get interest from a lot of people, family, friends. You get these things that come about. So at the time, I grew up in the household of Jehovah Witness. Side note, yeah, no. Mm, And again, this is not just about Jehovah Witness. This happens everywhere. Um, Everywhere, and when I say everywhere, everywhere, I was looking at some statistics um, as far as the priests, and it is staggering. Um, the sexual abuse cases that has happened. Um, I say that I see some of the participation of the presidents of all the conferences of the world, which was held by the Vatican in the city from 21 to 2024 February 2019 to discuss preventing sexual abuse, because staggering statistics have shown that uh, it's in the thousands, y'all. When it comes down to the priests finding out that they were doing things to these kids. Um, Also, too, along with that, that's not only things that has happened when it came to just them. I also looked upon situations with comparisons to Protestant churches and Jehovah Witness churches. The ministries. It's also stated that there were from 1950 to 2015 alleged incidents of child abuse in was 4,765 claims. The media reported from 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 the priest. Also, along with those, the incidents of allegations in the period between 1977, when the initial things was informed, that also happened with between the Protestant churches or Jehovah Witness churches, but it wasn't being told as much as the Catholic preach. Figured that. So in that culture of maybe Jehovah Witness or other Protestant churches, a lot of things they want to keep in house, which is absolutely insanely crazy to me. Also, some in these churches they do the same thing. When it comes to kids, um, the things that they do, just like they do in the in our black community. That saying like, instead of them putting them in jail or uncle or cousin, they just be like, don't worry, we're gonna put him away, and it's not okay. So, back to the story. I was, playing sports, playing basketball really well, and this, person that was in the church. Also, he was my neighbor. He took a liking to me. He took a liking to me. He saw me, I guess, heard some things. He'd come to the games, would come talk to me all the time. And this is part of grooming. Um, small things like, hey, you hungry? I see you walking. Stop me, take me home. But again, I didn't think anything because it's my neighbor. He got kids, so it wasn't nothing weird. The kids are younger, but he got kids. He's married. Go to same church as mine. So hey, I mean, why wouldn't I? Why would I question this? And I'm sorry as I'm telling you guys this. This is a real thing for me because I'm going back, and these are questions that I had to come to myself about. And anyone that has dealt with any kind of sexual abuse, I think in the same kind of spirit, these are questions that you have. So just follow me. Um, Again, I wouldn't think that this person would violate my trust or do anything. And also, too, as a young boy, as a teenager, 11, 12, maybe 13, you think you know better. Again, so I want parents to give our kids some grace because at that age, I know you want to wring their neck, and I wanted to do with my kids too. But you have to understand this is when they start in their mind some kind of independence. So going, him following me, taking me to get food, drinks, coming by, talking with my mom. Excuse me. At the time, my dad he was a workaholic. Mm, my dad, um, he worked a lot, so he fit that prototypical um old school father. He was a provider, and everything else. He allowed my mom to take care of. Um, you know, when certain things happen, if it got too much for her, he'd come see me, and that was it. He didn't really care about you know, any excuses. So that's where we had the maybe a little bit of the disconnect where, and it wasn't his fault. I always that was another thing. I kind of felt bad that I didn't want to put that on him. I'm gonna go later on in the story. You're gonna understand why. Um, so I, go on. He's, taking interest in me. Things going well. Coming to the games. We laugh, we talking, and then, at the time, if anybody grew up a Jehovah's Witness kid, it was very refreshing to um, deal with someone who didn't always want to stick the Bible and the Bible beliefs down your throat. Because at the time we were told that secular sports was frowned upon. Um, Doing anything outside of doing Jehovah's work was frowned upon. So these are the things that when I had someone that was grown, of my parents, stature, and come to me and tell me it's okay. I understand that you're a kid. You want to do things. It's unfair that you're just pushed upon and thrust. Now, we did talk about the Bible sometime, but it didn't come across weird. It didn't make me feel like, this is what you're supposed to do and you're not supposed to do. He made it, he made it easy for me to be comfortable around him, for my guard to be let down. And that's exactly what happened. So this happened, my games, all of that, and come around getting towards the summertime. The summertime is, the time when you're hanging out, you're with your family, with your friends. But again, like I say, at the time, every only thing that was about me at that time was basketball. Given nothing else. Um, Again, that situation happened with the young lady. I kind of put that behind me. I think I had sex one or two more times after that, but it was somebody else. I can't remember, but it from there the ball really went to rolling, y'all. So that happened, hanging out. So as this as this started, um, he came to my mom one day. No, matter of fact, he came to my dad, waited the end, and was telling my dad, he been checking on me, he did it real cool player, told my dad you know, how good of a son I am, very respectful. He tries to, watch up on him just like he watches from his kids. Now here's the thing that I didn't know. When he was speaking to my dad, he always spoke to my dad like he had his son with us. So my dad didn't know anything. And again, I'm a child. I wasn't privy to any of these things. So he did that, had my, talked to my dad. My dad, okay, cool. Even to the point, I remember my dad coming to ask me, say, hey, do you feel any way about Al? Um, I'm sorry, the person that did you feel any way about him, coming? Y'all cool? Like, and I'm like, yeah. Go, he felt comfortable. He said, somewhere. So sometimes we'll go to the gym. Sometimes we'll go to the park. Either way, we'll go when we did these things and everything was cool. So, um, but one of the things I tell my kids, and I want you guys to tell your kids, is something that God gave all of us, and that is intuition. Um, we don't follow that a lot, and that there could be the difference between life and death. So, uh, this day, it started feeling different. Um, it literally was different from the moment I woke up. It was different. I was off. Um, got up. I, think my mom every morning, again, it's summertime. Get up, split up, clean up, blah, blah, blah. Slacking around, did whatever. Now, this was different because he came and picked me up early. Usually the time he comes to pick me up, he picks me up in time between where it's an hour between we can go work out, just, me and him, I do my shots, work on my dribbling and stuff like that. And then from there, at that time the sun going down and my friends start coming to the park. And then I go play pickup game. Watch me play, then we go eat, we talk a little bit and drops me off. That's how normally things happen. But this today happened was very, very, very different. And I sometimes think back, and I have to give myself a pass and forgive myself and say, because I asked, like, how did I see this? How did I not know? Um, how was I supposed to know? So this day I got up, usually same time, brushed my teeth, washed my face. Um, he didn't come to the he didn't come to the door this time. He just sat inside the car. This was kind of different because at the time I think even my mom asked. My mom was like, "What's up?" Al been sitting outside of the car for a while. So I was like, I don't know. I was just, got up and I went in, got in the car, and hey, what's good, man? I'm like, I'm good. And, and it started being different because I remember because I was frustrated because I usually so here's the thing, y'all. Side note, back then we had little shorts. We all had little shorts. We didn't have the baggy shorts. Um, thank God for University of Michigan. Those who know the Fab Five. But at the time we had little shorts, so I would like to put that's like tights up under my shorts because we wasn't allowed to pull our shorts down. Back then, you pull your shorts down, your ass showing, you get in trouble. So I was having problems with, I couldn't find my tights. So I went ahead and had my little shorts. And when I got in the car, the first thing he did, he said, hey, boy, I just realized that you got some nice legs. Okay, it was weird. But I didn't think much about it. When it came down to it, I, kind of left it off. So he started off as we was driving, and it was a short drive because it was around the corner from my house. And he said to me, "Hey, let me ask you a question." He says, "I think I want to have a conversation with you a little bit today. Um, your dad told me, you know, he briefly talked to you about it, but us being in the truth, that's what they call it, being Jehovah's Witness. Um, I still want to make sure you're in the right space, and because at this time you get better, and things are going to happen to you. You're going to have girls, you're going to have people come talk to you, and blah blah blah." I was hearing him, but I wasn't really listening. Again, 12, 13 years old. I'm like, man, I just want to play basketball. So we did that, signed off. So got up. As usual, we went and we started to go. We started to go play. And then after that, I went, start shooting. Again, my intuition, it started because a lot of things was off because I didn't understand why he came and got me early. But I didn't ask. Again, you're a child. You don't, you know. So we got there, and he was like, I want to get it where we're in the sun, and blase squaze, and I want to see how you work. So I'm getting hot and sweating, and he said, "Take off your shirt." I bought the towel. I bought a towel, and I got some water. So yeah, I took off my shirt, the towel. I'm playing. I'm shooting, um, and I'm going, and this time now he wants to. It was, now that I think back, it was not only grooming, it seemed like foreplay for him because now he started doing something that he never did before. And now he was like, "Come on, I want to play you. I want to, rough you up. I want to show you." So I'm got the ball and I'm like, "Okay, I'm gonna play defense." He says, "No, I'm gonna play defense on you." And I'm trying to back him down, and now I'm looking, he is kind of playing defense, but he's like all over me, and it was weird. But again, I didn't, think about it. I just thought he was just trying to be aggressive. Um, yeah. So, really quickly, before I finish the story, going into part two, I want you guys to give me a brief minute, a brief pause for the cause, and I'm going to continue on finishing with that. Hold on 1 second. Thank you. Okay, so I'm back. Part two of Uncomfortable In-House Conversations with HB. Um, and this is part two of me explaining about my story about what happened to me. Um, I don't know what to call it. I don't know if it's sexual abuse or uh, it something happened that was very inappropriate that forever changed me, and I look at things differently now, which I understand now that it happened a whole lot with a lot of people. So going back, was playing and playing aggressive, and as we're playing, we're going back and forth, and now the moment we stop, we pause, drink water, we're talking, and he said, "Hey, come with me, let's walk, let's talk." I said, "Okay, cool." So as I'm doing this and I'm walking and I'm talking and we're having a conversation, he says to me, "Hey, have you ever had," he says, "you're of that age. I told your dad I wanted to talk to you." He said, "Have you ever had sex yet?" Now, this was weird. This was very weird coming from an adult man who does not, you're not my father. Um, and even though we have a rapport, it was highly inappropriate. And I think that's when my senses start kicking in. And this is the time where one of the emotions that I had was I felt guilt. I felt shame. because I felt that I should have known better. So as we talking, we walking down, um, and he's just asking me, calmly, like, it's okay, like, I was your age, and he smoothed it over, like, I just want to know. I want you to know that it's normal. It's normal for a young man your age to think about or want to have sex, these feelings, which I already knew. Again, my dad already talked to me about this, and two, well, nobody knew I was already having sex. So, of course, I didn't tell him that, but I was like, yeah, I get it. So he asked me, he says, well, have you had sex before? Again, I denied it because I don't know you like that, bro. And I didn't tell my dad that. So I was like, no, I haven't had sex. So he says, do you think about it? Um, and again, I want you guys to understand my mindset as we're talking. I'm feeling weird, but we're at this school, and I'm going down this alley. It's like where portables are. So picture, back then where they start building portables and you're walking from the basketball court to damn near where nobody can see you. Again, I wasn't paying attention, wasn't thinking. I was just, we're just talking like we usually do. And he said to me, well, um, you're about to, embark in some things, and I want you to know. He said, well, do you masturbate? And I was, again, it was weirding me out. And I was like, no, I was short with him. And, he laughed and kind of hit me on the shoulder. And he was like, well, what's going on? You uncomfortable? You like boys or something? And I was like, no, don't like boys. But, you know, he said, well, I want you to know that we are the same. Like, you're a man, you're going to be where I am one day, and I just want you to feel comfortable. One of these things, you might not feel comfortable with your dad, but I can talk to you about this thing. And he said, I'm looking at you as a nice young man. You have a nice physique, and you're growing up fast. And I was just, at this point, I just stopped and I said, okay. I said, I'm ready to go. So he said, well, I'm sorry, I didn't mean to make you uncomfortable. Um, he says, but I want us to make a pact. And I was like, okay. He said, I want us to make a pact that you promise me whenever you're getting ready to have sex, you're going to come talk to me. And I want us to make a pact that we can be able to talk about any and everything. And I said, okay, anything I could do to get him to leave me the hell alone, that's what I did. So he said, well, he kind of grabbed my hand. He was like, let's shake on it. I was like, cool. We shook on it. And he said, man, give me a hug. But the way he grabbed me and gave me a hug, I'm like, ugh, I kind of put my hand up. Because I'm like, he's like, well, what's wrong with you? He said, like, man, why are you uncomfortable? And I said, I don't like you sweaty. And I'm sweaty. Like, nigga, it's weird. um, and as he did that, he had my hand and he said, well, part of the pact is, I show me yourself. I want to see, being this age, I want to see, if you would be able to please a girl. And I was like, quickly, like, no, uh, uh, emphatically no. And again, he started laughing. He was like, come on, let me see. He was like, he said, you scared? It's little. I was like, again, no, but I just don't feel comfortable. And I said that. I remember saying that I don't feel comfortable talking about this. Like, I don't feel comfortable. And, he started laughing and he said, well, I told you, in order for us to have this pact, like, I'm going to show you me too. Like, I'm not going to do nothing, which I just want to see. He asked me, he said, have you ever, he said, have you ever, what it's like to bust a nut touching yourself? And that's when I went from uncomfortable, confused, to scared. Because at this point, I was confused. I didn't understand. And My senses was kicking in, and I wanted to just leave. I wanted to, um, I don't know, but felt, I felt weird because if I wasn't, I didn't know what he was trying to do or what he was trying to elude. And part of me being upset with myself is I felt like I should have known better. The truth of the matter was I shouldn't have known better. This is somebody that I trusted. This is somebody that my family knew. This is nothing like, us growing up in the century where people get on the internet and they talk to these people. I knew about, back in the days we used to use stranger danger. Um, I knew about all these things, and I was upset with myself because I just felt like I ignored those signs, which I didn't know. Um, Now, at this moment, I go from scared, I go from confused, scared, and I'm like almost getting mad because now he has a grip on my hand, and he go from my hand to my wrist, and I'm literally looking. I'm all I remember was, I can you just let me go? Because at this point, I have you know, I had my eyes were watery. I wasn't crying, but my eyes was watery because I'm frustrated. And he said, "Well, if you're not gonna let me see it, I want to show you mine." And I was like, "I don't want to see your I don't want to see it." Um, he continued on, um, and his voice got strange. I remember that. I wasn't looking at him anymore. I just think I was like looking out in the, I was out looking in the, just looking out in the sky, because for me, it was close, but it seemed like so far away because I was just ready to go. Um, and he was just holding, I just remember it got tighter, and he just kept saying, "Well, just look at it." And I said, "I don't want to." And he was like, "Well, you don't want me to look at you. You don't want me to see you." He says, "We got to do this, Pat, man. I got to trust you." And got to this point, he says, "All men do this at this point." And I'm looking at him like, "No, motherfucker. My dad ain't never do shit like that. We never even talked about nothing like that." Um, and I kind of tugged, and he started laughing, and in this sinister voice, and it was kind of like, "You, like, come on, like, if I want, no." What he said is, "If I wanted to do something with you, there's nothing you could do right now." He said, "Why would I hurt you?" He says, "But I just need you right now." And at that moment, at that moment, I felt helpless. I felt helpless in the moment because I'm, as much as cool as I thought I was, and as in my mind as a teenager, I thought that I myself couldn't or would never be in a situation like that, or better yet, that I will be able to handle myself in any kind of situations like that. I couldn't. Literally, I was at his mercy. He was bigger than me. He was stronger than me. Um, and there was nothing I could do. And I went from that to, I can't believe this happening. Like, you cannot make me understand that this person um is is doing something like this. Like, I trusted this person, and again, the word grooming, from the time, from the whole year, picking me up, hanging out, talking, um, to ease my mind, is real. So that happened, and I just kept saying, like, at this point, I said, "Can you please let me go?" And he says, "I he said, I don't believe that you're acting like this. Like, I thought you was cool. I thought you was, down. I thought, um, and I said to him, I tried to counter him. I was like, well, you said, I don't think Jehovah would allow this. I kind of pulled that card, and he laughed, and he said, boy, there's so much stuff going on. You don't know what Jehovah allow. He says, but right now, I'm just trying to finish this pack, and I can't let you go. And as he did that, I turned at him to kind of pull away. And at this point, this man had his full pants down. And with one hand, he had my hand, and he was stroking himself with the other. And at that point was I froze, and I was in full panic mode. Um, I asked him what he was doing, and he told me. He said, "I told you that I'm trying to, go ahead and build this, this thing with you." Um, and he said, "Just your body." And I said, "What?" He said, "Just your body. Look at you." He says, "You're growing up." He said, "Just do me a favor." And I said, "What?" He said, "Touch it." I said, "Touch what?" And he looked down, and I'm literally in, like, I'm angry and I'm scared, and I I don't. I'm gonna say this. I can't imagine how young girls or women feel when they're being pressed upon, or they're being, um, when somebody is opposing their will on them. I couldn't fathom how that would feel. But at that moment, briefly, I felt like there was nothing I could do. I also, at the same time, as a young boy, I, wanted to yell and say help, but being that kind of boy, I didn't want to scream. I didn't want to seem like I was soft. I didn't want to seem like I was a punk. I didn't want to come across as I didn't know how to handle myself. I allowed my pride and my ego to kick in. Um, and not understanding that I was a young boy being taken advantage of. Um, and this went on, I don't know, for a good 20 minutes, until finally I said, okay. And he said, see, you taking all this time. And I remember my fingers, I just touched it. As soon as I touched him, it seemed like he released me some, because I think he came, and I pulled away. Yeah, I'm gonna say he came, because he kind of fell against the portable, and I pulled away, and I ran. I ran home. Um, I didn't think. I just ran home. Um, Now, I am in full, just I don't know. Um, all these other emotions: ashamed, disgusted. Um, I'm scared. Um, I'm asking myself, like, do I like men now? Like, these are so many things that within that moment of going home, I felt. As soon as I went home, I opened the door and I slammed it. And I went straight to the bathroom. I got some bleach. I put it in my hands and I washed my hands. I briefly broke down, cried. I turned on the shower. Um, God bless the day, my mom came, and you know how mothers would do. She was like, "What was wrong with you? Why are you slamming my door?" And she realized something was wrong, because I yelled, Why don't you leave me the hell alone? Now, everybody that knows me and knows my mom, I'll never. That was a cuss word. I know this new parents and shit, like they let their kids say certain things, but that was a cuss word. Hell, lie was a cuss word. If you said lie, you get your damn head took off. So, um, being back there, all that was definitely would have got my ass whooped. So, I went ahead and but I just didn't care. I felt when I yelled at her doing that, I was trying to reclaim some of my manhood. To be honest with you, now me and being old enough to think, and I was just like taking it out like ain't nobody ever gonna do that to me again. Um, Something wrong because 15 minutes later, this crazy ass man comes knocks on the door, and I heard my mom say, Uh, he's taking a shower, but he's ready. He's about to eat. He's about to eat dinner. He asked, could he speak to me for a moment? She's told him, no, he was really tired. I'll let him. Just see him tomorrow. He says, okay. I'll talk to Big Harold later. She says, okay. At that moment, by this time I was in the room, and my mom knocked on the door gently and she said, can I come in? And I said, yes. My mom came in and she briefly said to me, and this is the thing about parents. This is the thing about mothers. This is something that I will forever and always say that you can't, you know, um, dismiss about a mother and her love for her, her child and her intuition. Um, my mom said to me, "Listen, um, I don't know what happened. I don't need to know what happened, baby. But I'm gonna say this. I'm gonna take care of it. But absolutely, absolutely, by no means, we cannot tell your father." Now, at the time, it seemed kind of cruel, but in hindsight, I understand. And she elaborated and she said, "We can tell your dad, but if we tell your father's not going to be here because he's going to go do something. And in which the things that your father will do, there's nothing I could say or do to stop him. I don't even think I would want him to stop. So just give mommy a moment. Let me handle it." Um, so again, that was one of the brief moments me and my mom shared. I didn't say anything. I didn't want to break down and cry, so I just wiped my eyes or whatever. Um, and I just remember I didn't hear from Al no more. Um, but here's the kicker. Um, this is one of the things that I shared that I do regret. Um, I regret me not saying anything. Because years later, a little bit after I got married, unbeknownst to me, my dad came to me, at the time, my ex wife, we were talking, and I walked in the house, and my dad said, "Hey, let me ask you a question." I said, "Yeah, my mom," and I know she didn't know either because she was taken back. He said, "Listen, did anything ever did such and such ever try or say anything with you?" He says, "I know he wouldn't because I know you ain't play stuff like that." And I was like, "What are you talking about?" He says, "Well, um, it was allegations that it was a boy that he befriended, and come to find out he was having sexual relationships with the boy." I almost lost it. My mom, it looked like somebody punched her in the stomach. Um, and I wish that I would have said something. Um, the point that I'm making, that that happened, and it happened to a lot of young men in the world that we live in today because of just that. We think that things like that shouldn't happen, and we don't know how to speak up for ourselves because we don't want to be judged. We don't want to be teased. And a lot of it's on self-inflection. It's self-infliction. Because I do believe if I would have told my parents, like I said, it would have been handled. But again, this is something that I carried and I tried to work through. Like I said, if anything, it just made me more frustrated. And this is why I get to the point where now that, everything I try to talk about without being, it's not a bias, it's my truth. Um, but these are things that we need to pay attention to. These are things that we need to be cognizant of. And it's unfortunate that are able to hide behind that. Um, not just the cloth, but also just being in other positions of power that we trust these people with. Um, it's more sad for me to say that people don't say anything in the church. Um, we condemn people for sins that that we don't like, instead of understanding that this is sick. Um, and again, this is my story, and I hope you guys enjoy it. I hope that you guys could learn something from it. Um, I sure did, even me going down memory lane. But again, I want to thank you guys for going down this process with me, and I hope you continue to. Thank you, and good night, and peace and love. Now it's getting towards the end. I want to especially thank you guys for going through this maturation process with me again. This here show was a bit heavy, I must say. I just hope that you guys might have got something out of it. I sure did. This is therapy for me. But what I would like to do is something that I always try to do at the end of every show is give you my HBism. And this one says, nothing is more humbling than knowing you're totally unworthy of forgiveness and still receiving it anyway. So again, I want to thank you guys. God bless, and you have a great night.